everybody, before you watch the video, make sure you follow the page, like the video, hope you enjoy.
Like what you just mentioned, it's a long-term thing, you know.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, they want it to be everything so quick and so, they want to get so good so quick, and they get so disappointed, you know what I mean, because jiu-jitsu has so many variants, you know, and you have to study a lot, and you have to like see other ways to do things and research and try to get more knowledge. And I noticed that I've been using BJJ 101, you know, like myself, to improve, you know, like that was one of my goals this year. I wanted to improve a little bit my game, change my game. And I noticed that you're also using, I'm finding very interesting, you know what I mean? Like, because everyone has a different way to do that search. Like, so, you know, like I'm looking for sections, or I want to improve on a certain position. Then I can ask someone that does the position. I can come to Anto, can you show me this knee lock here that goes from X guard, for example, and then he showed me, and I can go back there, have a look at there, have a look at another variation, and that becomes for me a very interesting thing that I have to try to come and train, and I have a purpose.
Yeah.
You know, and this for me now, it's much better. That for me is what gives me like the inspiration to keep happy and having a good lifestyle. You know what I mean? For just pursuing a new position, something that I can get better. But to do this, you definitely need to research, you know, and how are you finding this experience, like having access to the BJJ 101 library, and all the content that is also used in classes here?
Yeah, I've used it a couple of times now. At first I found it like a little bit difficult to navigate. Personally, I was like, like trying to look for certain things. I'm like, maybe those techniques aren't there. But yeah, it's really good, and I mean, all the stuff that is in there is stuff that we do here. So it's not like you're looking at theory that you're not actually doing here, or that other people aren't doing here. So I think that's really good.
So how do you use it? Like, for example, do you look for, I want to get better at the sweep from half guard, and then you go there? Or do you, is that how you're doing?
Yeah.
Because that's how I do it. And that's what I like about the library. Because it's divided in sections, and it's how I operated in my jiu-jitsu. When I want to get better, I look at what are my weaknesses at that time, or what I want to develop even further. Or positions in training I'm getting all the time, but I don't know another position, and that's what I'll go for.
Yeah. And like for me, I've been using it for jogging my memory for things that we've done like ages ago, you know, and like you just like you'll remember, like I'll personally remember like a few things, and then it won't work, and I'm like, okay, it's not that the technique isn't correct, it's that I'm missing something really important. So I'll like then watch, you know, a little bit of the video, and I'm like, okay, that's the thing that I was missing. So I'm using it for that.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah.
We just have enough gigabytes, say. We can't keep everything else in our software here. Sometimes disappear a little bit. We have to check. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I think that's a common thing that happens as like people go through jiu-jitsu. They'll have some techniques that they like master or get to a good level with as a white belt, and then it changes a little bit as a blue belt. And as they keep going, and like some of it gets recycled, some of it gets forgotten, some of it gets like, oh, now I'm good in this area, and it's a lot of it's there too, but like it's in the subconscious mind. It's not in like the front of your brain, and it's an interesting thing. Like even people that are training all day every day, like I forget positions all the time, and I'll go through some of the videos to put them up somewhere or do something. I'm like, oh wow, I can't remember. I just remember all this stuff. It's interesting. Like even like when you write them, when you start writing, like I write positions in lists and things like that, and order them and things like that sometimes. And once you start writing, you start like coming up with more memories of more positions and more positions and more positions, and it just starts like expanding and expanding and expanding. It's really interesting as like an exercise of memory and stuff like that, to like write things down and see how much you actually know. And I try this like with a lot of people. Like I'm like, all right, oh, you know, I'm in the half guard and I'm having a hard time. Okay, well, what techniques do you know from the half guard? Oh, no, okay, like list the techniques that you know. oh, you know, I know the Kimura from the half guard. Okay, great, that's one. What else do you know from there? Oh, I know the. Wait a sec. Oh, and then they're like, and then they realize like they only know.
How many seconds do you want? A minute?
Nah, and then they realize like, oh, okay, I only know actually 1 or 2 techniques from that position. So like once you do like these exercises, you start to actually really recognize how much do you actually remember.
Yeah.
And this is very interesting because like it's easy to come here in the classes and for the 3 or 6 week block or whatever that we're doing, whatever we're doing, we can, you know, remember it then and then we move on to something else and you take 2 weeks off and you come back. But there's no memory of that stuff now anymore. So you didn't do it for a period of time that was long enough for you to remember. So it's very, very interesting for people to do these exercises sometimes.
And I found the life now is busier for everyone, for kids, for adults, for teenagers, than what it used to be 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And there was a bit less like positions, you know. So now you have more positions in jiu-jitsu and less kind of, and more things in your mind all the time, you know what I mean? So there's more need for that, you know. Less things we'll remember right now, you know?
Yeah. Every now and then I'll, like the other day.
Hey guys, thanks so much for watching the video. If you haven't yet already, make sure you subscribe, like, and again, go and check us out on Facebook, on Instagram, like all our platforms. Give us a follow at bjj.101 on Instagram, and go and check out bjj101.com.au to access the full video library.